This is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime. Hello and welcome to All About Ads Prime. Today, it's not all about ads. The Rural Summit 2016 organized by MART took place in the capital recently. While the effect of demonetization in rural India has been upmost in most people's minds, what was discussed is how to take the people and public and private enterprise partnership to the next level. Isn't the real problem scaling up? And how do you strike a balance between communities and public and private enterprise so that it becomes a win-win-win situation for all? Here are excerpts of the discussion. I'd just like to begin with a very brief introduction. Private companies that have no social impact will disappear sooner or later. We all know that. Government or public enterprises that don't become efficient will disappear sooner or later. If local communities don't take responsibility for development projects, they will disappear sooner or later. So for the future of India, and especially rural India, I think this PPP model is integral and needs to work. There are gentlemen here, very accomplished and working for companies where these projects seem to have worked. I'd like to hand it over to Nishant first. Nishant is of course the country director of the American India Foundation based in New Delhi. We'd really like to start off with the project that you have initiated.
Thank you, Shruti. Good afternoon, everybody. AIF, in everything that we do in partnerships with the private sector and with the public sector. I'm going to share with you a positive example of a PPP partnership that we have forged in a urban kind of a context. We have a program called Ricksha Sangh, where we work with the banking partners, with the Government of India, with MFIs and with private sector players to enable rickshaw pullers to become rickshaw owners. There are 10 million rickshaw pullers approximately in India, and with a family of 5, you can calculate the number of people who are dependent on rickshaw pulling for their livelihoods. And as a last resort, when they move to the cities, they end up pulling rickshaws on rent. So that's the kind of problem that we tried to solve about 8 years back. A typical rickshaw would cost anywhere between 10 to 12,000 rupees, depending on the make, model, city, etc. But these people are so poor, they don't even have a saving of 10 to 12,000 rupees. So about 8 years back, we went to our banking partners and we asked this question: what needs to happen for you to lend 10 to 12,000 rupees to these rickshaw pullers? They said, we need collateral. We need guarantee from somebody. And we don't want to deal with rickshaw pullers individually because that becomes too small a loan for us. So if somebody can help them collectivize. And that's how Rickshaw program originated. We provide technical support and grant support to our partner organizations, and we work with our banking partners by providing FLDG, first loss default guarantee, of 10%. And that gives the confidence to banks to lend 10 to 12,000 rupees to rickshaw pullers. And we provide not money to rickshaw pullers, but actually the asset, permits and licenses and dress and bank accounts. We have enabled more than 1 lakh rickshaw pullers to become rickshaw owners through this program. So with zero investment from AIF, we have enabled more than 1 lakh people to become rickshaw owners.
If there is whatsoever a breach in any contract between the partners, who is the authority that you go to?
Of course, we try to de-risk by entering into formal legal MOUs.
Have you faced certain challenges?
We keep facing these challenges on a kind of ongoing basis, but I think this program has been running for 8 years now, and I think informally we have evolved systems and ways of working to resolve some of these conflicts.
So one of the greatest challenges was really this bank linkage in your program. Do you think it's got easier after 8 years, or do you face the same issues?
This remains the biggest challenge. The fact of the matter is, how much ever we kind of celebrate the success of Aadhaar or other schemes, the fact is that rural migrants still today struggle to produce all the KYC requirements, and the banks need these things. So to link rural migrants in cities to bank is still the biggest challenge. On paper there are a lot of schemes, but when you actually walk into a small branch in a tier 2, tier 3 city, the branch manager of that branch is absolutely risk averse. That's our experience.
What do you think has been the mantra for the success of this partnership between all parties?
I think the key lesson is that in that partnership there has to be something for everybody. The word people is absolutely important. If you put the community, who is this partnership for? I think that is the key question that all of us have to answer before we start doing anything. And you can produce a technical solution to a problem, but unless it kind of serves the needs and interests of the community, it's not going to work.
Absolutely, and that's a very important point that we'll keep reiterating. Let me move on to our next speaker, Mr. Deepak Saxena. He is the head of partnerships, water business at Hindustan Unilever, where he is responsible for forging sustainable partnerships with global NGOs, MFIs and other outreach agencies to reach low-income households. It's over to you.
My job is to take Pureit to the base of the pyramid. That everything we do in PPP partnerships, the people have to be at the center of it. This is a question which people keep asking me all the time, that why did a FMCG company launch a consumer durable like Pureit? Safe water continues to be a very important unmet need. They need safe water, but they can't either afford it or they can't access it. This is one of the biggest causes of waterborne diseases. Idea was that how do we take Pureit to the poor people? We started out with a segmentation so that our job becomes more focused. Have segmented the poor, as you see, into 3 categories: very poor people, productive poor, these are the aspirers, the Unmukh class, and then what we call as vulnerable poor. And these vulnerable poor are people who for some reasons have become more vulnerable to waterborne disease. What we realized is that the very poor and the vulnerable poor cannot be reached with a sales model. It looks very crass and in bad taste. In some place there is an earthquake or a flood and you go and try and sell a product there. It doesn't work. So these 2 groups of people had to be reached through a philanthropic or a CSR approach. But certainly the productive poor, the Unmukh people, had to be reached with a sales model. Not only because a sales model is sustainable, but also because these are the people who value their dignity. They don't want things free. So we said that we will reach these people through our sales model. And there were 3 or 4 big challenges that we faced. The biggest challenge was the myth that clean looking water is safe water. And this simple myth makes the whole task so difficult. The second big challenge was that these people never had enough money together to pay upfront for the device. So we realized that just by doing behavior change communication through our partners, we are actually doing a disservice to these people. They were living happily with whatever water they had, and we have unnecessarily aroused and made them guilty. And that's when we decided to find financing mechanisms which could finance these products. And then there were other challenges around trust issues. And during the course of our work, we found that the most suitable partners for us were the microfinancing operations. They were giving loans to women. They were collecting women in a group where we could talk to them from a platform. The ladies were coming together at fixed intervals. We did not have to hold separate meetings. There was a tremendous trust between the MFI and the ladies because they had trusted them with money. And when a product like ours came from the same platform, the trust transferred. It's not important how many partners we have. It's more important that we get the right partners. We have been now running these programs for the last 5 years. It is the repeatable model that Unilever has now adopted to provide safe drinking water to millions of people worldwide going forward. Every single rupee has come back. Every single partner that we have has said that we have no defaults on account of this product. Thank you so much for it.
You talked about this trust deficit. As a company, and MNCs and private companies are often looked at as profit-making companies. How does that change the dynamics with your partners?
One is the trust deficit itself, the consumers, from the consumer's point of view. And second is what changes when you sell a product versus when you give it away free. The poor are some of the most careful and guarded people because honestly they have been cheated by everybody. They feel extremely cheated by most of their governments. They also feel cheated by unscrupulous manufacturers. Most of the companies, good companies, are not able to work with them because working with the poor requires a change in the business model. You need to have a different kind of products, you need to have a different kind of distribution network, pricing policy. Most companies find it extremely difficult to come up with a different business model. Therefore, what they do is they find it easier to write a check. If you offer a business plan and a business model to the base of the pyramid, it takes a little while. But at the end of the day, it is the only way to go forward.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. After the break, how can there be a win-win-win situation in projects that can impact communities as well as public and private enterprises? That's coming up.
The issue with partnership is obviously it's like a marriage. We have to manage expectations each other. So you need partnerships. You can't put up a facade of looking good and doing a little bit of CSR and all that. You have to do good to the society. That good you do to the society would help you create a new market for yourself.
Let me move to my next panelist, Mr. Danish Siddiqui. He takes care of all marketing, sales and customer care functions at the national level for the exciting rural vertical of Hero Motorcorp Limited.
The founding philosophy of this organization has been enduring relationships. So be it our vendor relationships, our customer relationship or anyone, it's been on partnerships and that was the starting point. The issue with partnership is obviously it's like a marriage. We have to manage expectations each other. It's difficult to reach out to rural. It's very expensive. So you need partnerships. You can't put up a facade of looking good and doing a little bit of CSR and all that. And although you have your balance sheet as central of everything you do in a business entity, so there's no hidden agenda. You have to do good to the society. That good you do to the society would help you create a new market for yourself, and you have ongoing demand coming and growth happening for your products. In terms of specifics that we have done, we have just tied up with a government initiative of CSC SPV. Again, that is a PPP model. These people are village level entrepreneur. They do this for the government, but their incomes have not been that great. So we have tied up with them. So they also sell our products, make extra bit of money, and that model also gets supported. The government model gets supported. We have also this tie-up through CSC SPV where we get into skilling people. This person in a village can come to this CSC center and do a virtual training of 60 hours to become a motor mechanic. And after completing that motor mechanic course, this person comes to our dealership for an internship. So everything we do in any case has partnerships. A lot of other things we have been doing in the past, like for instance 2003 we partnered with IGNU. We still have that partnership going for training people to become motor mechanics. You create jobs in any case, and then you have people who will talk about your brand. So you create business opportunities, you create goodwill, you create people, you create jobs, and you also create a future business for yourself. Like for instance, we go to schools in villages, and we tell the principal that we want to take your children to our dealerships on an educational trip. So as kids we have gone to Britannia factory, etc., etc., and these small children come to our dealerships and they for a day, and they are imparted a lot of small relevant knowledge. They are the new age opinion leaders.
Great, thank you. But the question again I'm coming back to is that at the end of the day you're there for sales, right? Now you said social impact initiatives cannot be a facade. How does that change when you have sales targets even in rural areas?
Sales has not been a problem thus far. We very strongly believe, and I personally believe that if you are doing something without a facade, you are doing something for the society. Society would accept that, appreciate that, and come back to you.
Who is the authority that one goes to when there's a breach in contract as far as your partnerships are concerned? And you have a lot of partnerships.
So we have formal MOUs. So these formal MOUs, they are like guiding principles. But since we take pride in saying that we manage our relationship well, it's all about managing expectations. It's a lot of give and take, and it's all about stacking a balance.
And now on to our last panelist, Mr. Ajay Desai. He is the Senior President and Chief Financial Inclusion Officer, Food and Agribusiness Research Management.
I will just quickly narrate about the newest innovation, that is SimSe Pay. There was a small survey where asked how many of us have Paytm. Besides Paytm, there will be about 4 other wallets, and having a smartphone is very easiest way to approach and access many such apps and do the payments. But what about the population? Majority of Indians who don't have a smartphone, they are working on a feature phone, basic phone. For them, accessing these services is challenging, and the problem is that their level of literacy is also less. So we cannot ask them to follow 20 steps, do 4 validations, enter PIN. It is not feasible. Yes Bank has come out with a solution called Slim Sleeve Technology. This is a wafer thin small gadget which is pasted on the SIM card of any mobile, and once you put such modified SIM card in your feature phone, that feature phone with respect to banking transaction becomes as good as a smartphone. All the basic banking transactions like balance inquiry, paying to somebody, transferring money to somebody, bill payments, basic banking function can be done by any person with basic mobile literacy. This initiative Yes Bank has not developed for its own customers. All our customers are on smartphone. But this initiative is to help other smaller banks, mainly cooperative banks, which have got, first thing, they don't have a technology system, technology arm of their own, and their customers do not have much of smartphone. They are still feature phone users. So we have developed this technology mainly for our partner banks, and we are here acting as a technology facilitator. Upfront we say ki your customer remain your. We are not here, though we are also bank, we are not here to poach your customers. And with this we are getting very good initial success. Thank you.
So my question is, we have been under the impression that digital banking only is on smartphones. You are setting up the technology, you are the technology facilitator. So what's in it for Yes Bank?
There might not be much gain for Yes Bank in terms of monetary terms, but there is a gain in long-term partnership. For example, these state cooperative banks and central cooperative banks are our as such long-term partners. So in this particular system we might not make much of money, but because these banks will keep trusting us more, they will start doing more business with us, they will place FDs with us. This becomes a very good proposition for us to offer.
In the long term, you're hoping that some of the products would come to Yes Bank, and perhaps when customers from these cooperative banks want to move up a certain level.
Exactly. Whenever there is a customer who wants to upscale himself, we are not here to poach those customers, but there will be some natural 5%, 10% customers who will require higher level of services than what a cooperative bank can offer. And because he knows Yes Bank indirectly as a facilitator, Yes Bank will become the natural choice.
Right. Thank you very much then.
Thank you.
Looking at the future, what would be some solutions that you're looking at forging stronger partnerships between people, public and private?
Private companies will have their limitations of how much population or how much customers they can reach. But if we get a government as an active partner, government is always there as a passive facilitator or passive partner, but if we get government as an active partner, many of these partnerships will go to a scale which we cannot imagine right now.
I completely agree with Mr. Ajay Desai. I just want to add one more thing. When you come to these kind of forums, you realize there's so much happening, and you don't know about it. So I think that's also something which is I think commendable. So I thank MART.
I personally feel there's a drastic change in the government's approach to doing things. We have had 10 meetings with the government department when we were tying up with CSC. They came to our office 6 times. So there's change in government approach which is happening, and this will only help the cause because they have already started working taking the initial step.
For me, digitization of our work is critical for me in the next few years. What I see is this huge aspiration in the rural areas. Every one of them will access content, internet and videos. So we plan to ride that wave for the next few years.
This whole digital revolution that we are looking at, do you see that transforming relationships and partnerships?
I'm not sure of that. Relationships are at the heart of it. Whatever you may do, the machines are not going to run that relation.
That's a great way to end this discussion. As one of the panelists mentioned, it's like a marriage, only there are 3 people, so you can imagine how much harder you need to work. Right? And of course, at the heart of everything is the community and people. And on that note, thank you very much all for joining us on this session. Well, that's it on the show this week. Next week, don't forget to watch our Christmas special on All About Ads Prime. From the entire team, thank you very much for watching. See you again, same time, same place next week. And of course, don't forget to watch our show on ndtv.com/allaboutads.